Hello, sir.
Yes.
IQ have been dropping consistently. So one researcher's explanation is the easy access of technology. So as we know that you are a self-confessed fan of science and technology. So do you believe there is any truth to this explanation?
See, there has to be a reason, right? Dropping IQ levels are a fact. Nobody is cooking them up. Over large samples, surveys have been done, and it is categorically established that the IQ levels have been indeed falling. And it's been like, 3 or 4 decades now. The reasons scholars have been able to estimate are because, you see, this is not a perfect science. You will never absolutely be certain that the causes that you are attributing to this phenomena are the real ones. But still, with some degree of certainty, the causes scholars have been able to think of include very easy availability of all kinds of mediocre information and knowledge and sensory input, and the prevalence of one-way media. What is one-way media? It started with the radio. So what happens when you are with the radio? The communication is all one way, which means you don't really have to exercise your mind. You have no option but to just passively consume what the radio is serving you. Then it took the shape of television. So one more sense was neutralized. The radio had neutralized only the ears. With the television, both the eyes and the ears were gone. And after that came the internet, and with it, social media. Getting it? So there is a great degree of passive consumption that is happening. And in that passive consumption, the mind is not even required to exercise discretion. The mind is supposed to just stand and consume, or sit and consume, or lie down and consume on the bed, right? That's how most people consume social media these days. They are literally lying down, zero activity, and the mind is being fed content. When that happens, obviously the mind gets dulled down. You cannot ask what's going on. The fellow in front of you is feeding you something, and you have no option but to open your mouth, which is open your mind. You cannot interact. You cannot object. And with all this happening, the medium of consumption that used to be more primary has declined. Books. Now with books, there is an advantage. The advantage is that you can stop at some point and think and brood, right? You can at least underline. You can scribble something on the margins. You are not compelled to keep reading on or listening or watching on. You read at your own pace. You can also skip pages. You can go to the chapter of your choice, or you can return to the point you started from. Some earlier point you can go back to. all that is not really available when it comes to the various kinds of media. Even if it's theoretically available, it is not exercised. Even superior to the books medium used to be the personal medium, where you're talking face to face with an author or a creator or a scientist, somebody, a teacher. And there you have to be extremely attentive, because the fellow in front of you can actually intercept you and ask you, have you understood something? Are you here? Are you present? Are you listening? That's something even a book cannot do. And social media does not even want to do that. Right? Because if a video stops in the middle and the creator asks you, have you been attentive? You'll hate that creator. Because you have been listening to those videos just so that you can get drunk on the content and fall asleep. And here this fellow has come to just shake you up. You will not like that fellow. But that's how it used to be when the discussions were more personal. The fellow in front of you held himself responsible to ensure that you are indeed getting the content. He wanted you to raise questions. He wanted you to interrogate and probe the issue from a different dimension and take the issue to the next level. All that is gone. Easy availability of everything that does not require you to exercise discretion, investigation, nothing. You know what the result of all this has been? You'll be amazed. The result of all this has been the rise of a very new type of modern superstition. Because you see, when you are not discreet, when you are not inquisitive, when you do not want to question and know, when inquiry is no more your cup of tea, then you just believe very lazily in anything. Something comes to you and it has become your habit to believe in it. And that habit has been cultivated since long. Now you know how all these WhatsApp forwards get so much of traction. Because people just believe in anything. That's the result of several decades of practice. Practice of unconsciousness. Have you seen someone question these days? Even so-called educated people, English-speaking people, westernized people, you find them getting superstitious every passing day. A new kind of westernized superstitions have emerged. Why? Because we just don't want to stop the flow. We don't want to say, wait, explain. And do not utter a word till you have explained the previous one. Have you heard people say that? Someone comes and just launches into a long haranguing speech, and you let him continue. In fact, most speakers do not even want that they should be questioned. Spreading rumors has become a full-time industry. People are making careers on back of superstition. So that's all that goes along with declining IQ levels. We are turning very unconscious, very animalistic. Have you seen how dismissive and how contemptuous people have become towards knowledge and science these days? Have you seen how when you want to humiliate someone, you tell them not to serve you too much gyan? Have you noticed how the word gyan has become something of a pejorative and abuse these days? Huh? Gyan mat de. No, what does that point at? Similarly, science. Have you seen how these people humiliate the very field of science? They say, oh, what does science know? Science is a baby. Science is baby. Then who is the mature one? Baba is the mature one. So Babaji has turned science into a baby, and Babaji says, I will tell you the real science. All the science that scientists have told you is nonsense. I am Einstein's big daddy. I will tell you the real science. Both of us can laugh at it, and indeed it is quite amusing. So I do have a good laugh at it at times, but the consequences are tragic. Do you see that? The consequences are a decline in IQ, a decline in the general intelligence of the population of the world. We are turning into idiots. And that's not a laughing matter.
So, should we have to try to explain the way to gain knowledge?
I didn't get you.
So, should we have to try to explain the way to gain knowledge?
Explain to whom?
To our generations?
They must first of all be told the very meaning of being human. What is the difference between a human being and an animal? The animal does not understand. Right, good. The animal does not understand, and also the animal has very little need to understand. If you have a pet dog, do you think the dog is very worried that it does not know how the laptop works? If you have a cat and you have the laptop on your desk, the cat will coolly come and just sit on your laptop rather than your lap. And the cat is sitting right on the laptop without ever wondering what that thing is all about. That's the animal. The animal does not even want to understand. It does not have great curiosity. Even if it has curiosity, its curiosity is limited to food and sex, etc. If the cat is able to sniff a mouse, then the cat will be curious. But the cat does not want to know what's there in the galaxy, where do we come from, what's the purpose of life, how does the laptop work, what's going on the frontiers of physics. All those things the cat has no interest in. As human beings, we must be greatly interested in these questions. Otherwise, we are just cats and dogs. The human being, if you are using a smartphone, you must know something about the phone. Not just about the apps installed there. I know I have Instagram app there, and so I use that app. You must also know what that little computer is about. You're not a computer engineer. You will not be able to know everything about that phone. But you must have some knowledge. You ride your two-wheeler or your four-wheeler, you must know at least the basic principle behind the engine. You fly to Bombay, to Goa, someplace, you must at least know the basic physical principle that makes the plane fly. Otherwise, what's the difference between me sitting in the flight and some cockroach that has made its way to the luggage cabin? Both of us are flying. The cockroach is flying. I am flying. The cockroach does not know how the plane flies. Even I do not know how the plane flies. The cockroach does not know why really it is flying. The cockroach. Even I do not know why I am going to Goa. Just some impulse, some random incidents, and I find myself on the plane. Similarly, some random coincidence and the cockroach is in the luggage cabin. What is the difference between me and the cockroach? So you should know about the external world, how the plane flies. You should also know about the internal world. Why are you flying? And only then you and the cockroach are really different. When that is clear to people, that to be human is to know that the essence of humanity is consciousness, and consciousness inquires because consciousness wants to realize. Realization cannot happen without inquiry, questioning. Then you will have a discrete population, a population that is inquisitive, that has a scientific temperament, that does not endorse superstitions. Otherwise, you will find that technology will evolve and our minds will decline. Not making sense?
No, sir, making sense. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.